I was in the gym the other day and I was just thinking about, like how far we've come in terms of fitness, the things that we learned, the things that we, regrettably did wrong. And just, hell, we're barely in February of the year. There's so much more to go in this year alone. And there are so many people that are on their own journeys where I just want to build muscle. I want to lose some fat. I finally want to go on that diet. I want to do all of these different things that, they're really great goals and they're really, really good. And I think a lot of people should set these kind of goals and pursue them. But there's also a lot of pitfalls and there's a lot of misinformation. And you'd be shocked to find out people want to take advantage of your ignorance if you're not really well versed in this space. So I figured it would be a really interesting topic to at least talk about a bit, to give some of the misconceptions, some of the things I wish I knew, some of the things I would have done differently, and generally where we're at currently. Now, I will preface it by saying I'm not the biggest guy on the planet. I'm also natural, but I have been able to gain some muscle and do some things right. Oh my God, wait a minute. Oh my Lord. There are some things that I've definitely done wrong. And I feel like it'd be really useful to talk about it. My original physique, I need you guys to understand, I was a very chubby kid. I was a fat piece of and the reality was I didn't know what I was doing. I had no sense of direction in terms of my diet, in terms of going to the gym, working out, hell, doing the workouts properly. And then you have the self-esteem issues that come with that, like confidence, not wanting to even ask people at the gym because you don't know what the hell you're doing. All of the general issues that you run into as you're beginning your journey, you're trying to get it started. These are things that are super easy to open up Instagram, open up TikTok, any social media platform where you have influencers, and there are really good ones out there. I have to point that out. But there's also a lot of really bad ones, okay? And there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, bro, you'll accomplish your goal. Just go ahead and use my discount code, and we'll get you right over there. Walk into a GNC, walk into any of these nutrition shops, not knowing what the hell you're doing, and you're going to be spending a ton of money that you could have otherwise saved and still made gains in progress, So, all that to say, my original physique was a very chubby, untrained, unathletic kid, and we weren't even aware of our potential in terms of our genetics. You don't really know where you're gonna go with the whole thing. You're just kind of going. A big thing that I struggled with personally was that I coped with food. Food was my safety and security blanket. Granted, my parents were also divorcing and blah, 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 blah. I won't tell you the whole spiel. Maybe another video. But generally speaking, food was my way of finding comfort and support. And I had a very supportive family that never once told me, hey, bud, you need to go to the gym. You need to get your ass in there and start working out because, you're fat. We never experienced anything even close to that. So I wouldn't call it enabling. So with us losing all of the weight from, these examples, there were definitely struggles between, you go into that gym mindset, the gym bro mindset, chicken, rice, broccoli. We gotta stay locked in, guys. You cannot have any junk food. That's not healthy either. That's ultimately gonna be a massive deterrent in your progress if you are now scared to eat. And I mean that as in you can start developing disordered eating. It's not a good thing to go down. So you really gotta stay locked in and understand that hey, you're still human. It's still life. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have moments where you might mess up. You're gonna fuck up every once in a while, but just stick to it. Keep going on that train. Keep that truck going down the highway rolling, and you will get where you're trying to get to without ending up with some pretty bad side effects as a result of it. You know what I mean? I just don't think it's worth it, and I would really hate to see people have to deal with the kind of stuff that I did when I was so scared of food, Oh, God forbid I eat a cookie. You know what I mean? So things like that definitely are pitfalls. So I gave you the extreme examples. That was me, 204 pounds, chubster, very untrained, never stepped foot in a gym. And then I went on a pretty hard cut. I was eating 1,900 calories a day. Real low calories. Honestly, it was very successful. I could have kept going, but my testosterone was also completely withered away and gone. That's my fault. I did not diet properly. I got where I was trying to get to, but I promise you, if you're going to do it, you can do it significantly better than me and have a lot more success on the way over. So by all means, don't be afraid to do a cut, but don't go overboard either. You know, have a proper diet. And I'll get into some more details as we go, just because I feel like it's appropriate for me to kind of tell you some of the things that you should still do as you're cutting. So some of the things that I kind of wish that in retrospect I knew was the idea that the slower the progress, the better. The more time, and you should have a mindset shift. If you're somebody that's currently overweight, you should have the mindset shift that that fat that's hanging off of you, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think of it as potential to build muscle. Because you are carrying extra energy, it's almost as if you are in a bulked state. You ever hear the joke of like the lifelong bulk? Think of it that way. Make that your mindset shift, and all of a sudden when you're in the gym, you can really be focusing on, hey, let's do good form, let's crank out these reps, let's be consistent and hit our protein goals. And then, as we're cutting calories, we're using all that excess energy to still build muscle, to really get a foundation going. And that would be the next thing. Building a foundation is critical before you go on a cut. I can't express this enough. Guys, those pictures of me were at 134 pounds. Like, that's tiny. At that level of weight, that's not something that I would ever want to walk around at again. Don't get me wrong, girls like it. That's cool. It's not a good weight, depending on your height. And I'm not the tallest guy on earth, but I don't know many people that want to walk around at 134 pounds. At that point, it's almost like, whoa, I have a set of abs. That's really cool. I'm also like 90 pounds wet. Who cares? Of course I'm gonna have abs. I look like I'm dying of hunger, and I kind of was. Third thing, and I did mention it a little bit, proper form over the weight. I can't express it enough either. The amount of people that you see ego lifting in the gym, I will never understand how people can still consistently just ego lift or just do the exercises wrong. There are so many resources, and it does not matter how weak you look. Dude, you're in there to get jacked. Just focus on that part. Who cares if you're... When I'm doing lat raises, if I am suffering and I have the 15 pounds, guess what? I'm still doing like the lat raise. It's still stimulating muscle growth. This rush to try to get to the end of the dumbbell station, I guess, the dumbbell rack, I've never understood it. And then you'll have people injuring themselves and having these lifelong crippling injuries that they're dealing with 20, 30 years later. You're gonna be around for a long time. I really think you should just focus the fuck up and make sure that you are able to do this long term. Okay? Yeah, the gym girlies, they walked by and they saw you deadlifting all that weight, and that's really, really cool. And you're rounding your back, and you're gonna herniate a disc. Stop it. Take care of yourself. Please. I would also say this, and this is a controversial take to people that are in the fitness industry, but I'm a macros overall type of guy. As in, I'm eating glazed donuts that are nothing but sugar and fat, and they're 230 calories for a donut. And guess what? We're still losing weight on the cut that we're currently on. I'll get into some more details later on, but we're still losing weight. And why is that? Because macros overall. If you are hitting your calorie intake and you're hitting your protein and you're hitting your carbs, it does not matter if you are eating a little yummy snack, like the GOAT Rich would have said. It doesn't matter. You're still reaching your goals. You're still checking another day off where you maintained your calories. You did your part. You did a good job. Reward yourself. Have the little treat. Who is actually sticking to a diet if all of their food is the same consistent, healthy, but boring stuff? It's not that big of a deal. And I know it almost is a psychological thing where you're like, there's no way that I can possibly be eating this donut how can I be eating this donut and still be losing weight? It makes no... You are still going to lose weight. Calories in, calories out is undisputable proof, okay? It is physically impossible for you to not lose weight if you are restricting calories, okay? If you'd like a really extreme example of proof, any country that has had a famine has had forced calories in, calories out. The population was forced to expend more energy than they were able to consume during that time period, resulting in them losing weight to the point of starvation and famine. We luckily, knock on wood, we're in the United States right now, we luckily do not have to deal with that. At least I don't. But we are doing a controlled, calculated count of our calories, and we're being diligent about what we're putting in our bodies. That includes sauces and vinaigrettes and all kinds of different seasonings that could spike up calories. I'm not saying don't put salt on your food, please. I've seen some of the gym bro food. It's horrible. Dude, put some sriracha sauce. Put some hot sauce, put some seasoning, lemon, pepper on your food. I promise you, you're still gonna reach your goals. You are being disordered. Stop being disordered. Anyways, if you hit your macros, you're gonna accomplish your goals. You're still gonna do great, and you're still gonna see progress on the scale. Even if it extends it a little bit and you feel like you're not, because, oh, well, I had more salt in my diet, right? And we're retaining a little bit more water, so the scale's not moving much. Just stick to it. You don't necessarily want to see it do this. That's bad. If it's just going straight downward, you're not heading in a good direction. You want to see slow, gradual, tiny little peaks in the weight as you notice generally it's going downward. You're heading in the right direction, but there are little moments where it goes higher, you know? So just as long as you stick to your macros, you will accomplish your goals. So don't be discouraged. So my current physique, like I said, I'm no joke, I bulked up from 134 to 168. I don't have pictures of me at that point because I really did not like where man, come on, I couldn't see my abs anymore. What did you expect? But from that point to me bulking to 168, I got fluffy. I got all fluffy. I still hadn't built a crazy amount of muscle, but I understood, hey, let's retire our abs, let's put them away for a little bit, and then we'll come back, and once we have our abs, then we'll also be at a respectable weight. And then I cut a little bit again, and we bulked up to 182 pounds. And then I cut a tiny bit down to 171 and maintained it as I lifted. I just said, you know what? I want to build muscle. Let's focus on doing that. And then once we've built a good amount of muscle, we can kind of take a look at it, go on a cut, and then we'll see what we're working with under the hood. Ultimately, yeah, kind of worked. It worked out pretty damn well. I would recommend most definitely following suit like that. If you are very, very lean, go on a bulk. Don't overdo it. Let's not gain 70 pounds, but you can gain a decent amount of weight as long as you are willing to accept two things. One, the bulk needs to end eventually. And if you have the discipline and the willpower to go back to eating regimented, specifically with the mindset of cutting, by all means do it. But that's only if you're willing to accept those terms. I know there are people that will say main gaining. Personally speaking, I'm not even going to say it doesn't work. Because it might work. It just didn't for me. I noticed that it felt like I was spinning my wheels. When I had gone on the original cut, I was like, cool, we're lean, we have abs, we still have our strength. Now I'm just gonna eat up maintenance and we'll keep putting on muscle and it'll be great. And I felt as though I was the exact same weight and my muscles felt like they were stagnant until I began to bulk. We're all different. Every single one of us has a different genetic makeup. So who am I to tell you exactly what you should do in that regard? What I've learned is this: just try it. Try things out, see if they work for you. And ultimately, if you do find yourself having success with one of these things, then keep going with it. I know some individuals that are, strict vegans. I could never do that, but clearly I'm not them. They're not me. Do what works for you, and you will find that ultimately you're going to land in a very comfortable spot if you just trust your instinct and don't feel obligated to go with what the fitness industry tells you. Because I promise you, every single day, you're going to see and hear some new online that the new fad diet, the new this, the new that. You don't have to overcomplicate any of this, okay? There are things that I still use to this day that are incredible lifesavers and have been nothing but very helpful tools for me on my journey. One of them is a scale. You'd be shocked to find out. If you weigh yourself consistently, you're gonna know whether you're accomplishing your goals, whether it be a bulk or a cut or maintenance, whatever phase it is that you're trying to enter. I would also recommend, in terms of the app, now I track my food. I think food tracking is very useful. I think it's very important that you acknowledge you don't have to track food forever. I do it because I like precision. I like the results that I get out of it from being super precise. But that might not be what works for you. I would still say, give it a shot and see if you like it. If you do decide that you want to track your food, I would recommend an app called Nutrition X. I'm misspeaking. I believe it's called Track by Nutrition X. Essentially, you're looking at a barcode scanner to grab your food package, scan the back of it. Cool. Log how much you had. It could be Oreos. It could be, I don't know, chips. You can weigh it by the grams. You can weigh it by the actual serving sizes that it provides you. But the database is massive, and it is super useful being able to just log your stuff. If not, build it in a little custom area. There's no ads. There's no payment. There's nothing. And I'm not sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Does my channel look big enough to be receiving sponsorships yet? Come on, guys. But I would highly recommend it. Seriously, all jokes aside, I would highly recommend trying out that app and see if it's something that you like. In terms of fitness myths and, you know, your ignorance being preyed on, I mean, there's endless amounts of that. There's the idea of like fat being terrible for you. It's not. You need it for your hormones and your brain. Please eat fat still. You need it even on a cut. I know that sounds like what, but I'm trying to burn fat. Why would I be Why would I be eating fat? You still need it to sustain your brain. It's still important. So consume it, okay? Do not cut any one food group out of your diet. They're all necessary. They're all critical. Just focus on the calories and then consume the food groups based on what fits for you. Easy peasy. You don't have to overcomplicate it. The fitness industry will tell you that you need to go and eat raw bull testicles like Liver King. I know we all are aware by now that he was taking $10,000 of steroids. Allegedly? Do I even have to say allegedly? The guy was outed and admit to it. You know, I don't have to say allegedly. That guy. Anyways, things like that. I mean, you would think there's no way that I would believe that. That sounds ridiculous. Who would fall for? A lot of people do. The same people that will also tell you, oh, just do this 5 to 10 minute ab workout routine. Yeah, just lay there and just do the little curls. Do the little crunches, and in no time, you're gonna have a 6-pack and 0% body fat on your abdomen. That doesn't even exist. You can't spot reduce fat. Trust me, if you could, I would already be ripped out of my mind from trying to do ab crunches all day and night, which I do. You can still actually build up abs and make them stronger through weight resistant crunches and through exercises that will actually build your abdominal plates. Anyways, I digress. Those quick fixes, those shortcuts, those little, oh, easy peasy, just watch my video and then just hit subscribe and make sure to watch like 5,000 of my little ab routines that every single person falls victim to, including me. Every one of us fell for it. They don't work. None of it works, okay? It's a rite of passage in the fitness industry to fall for one of those videos. So if you truly have put one of those on and you work up a sweat and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this for 30 days, we'll see what happens, and you look and feel the exact same, just know we've all done it. So don't beat yourself up over that. I mean, I know that you can walk into a store and see 5,000 different, supplements. The only ones that I am currently taking are a nootropic, because It keeps me a little more wired. Doesn't do anything for performance in terms of the gym. Creatine monohydrate, which I know there's triphosphate. There are creatine. I remember my girl told me there was a booty builder creatine that was peach ring flavored or something along the lines of that for about $40. And it's just creatine monohydrate with some flavor. Like, guys, creatine monohydrate is one of the cheapest supplements you can get. And you're telling me there are individuals out there spending $40 consistently to get a tiny tub of flavored creatine? Like, the fitness industry loves chewing up ignorant people and spitting them out because they're like, oh, this person's never gonna accomplish their goal. We're gonna fucking abuse the hell out of their wallet. They're gonna go their entire year just being disappointed in the fact that they made no progress. And then guess what? New year hits, new year, new me, baby. Let's go. Time to accomplish my goals. And they go and they spend more money and they're like, this time will be different. Walk into the nutrition shop and the cycle just repeats itself. Okay? So just keep it basic. I take a nootropic, I take creatine monohydrate. Just get that one. It's dirt cheap and it works. And I also have been taking Augusta Turkist, which to those that don't know is also called turkesterone, okay? Now I know those that are experienced in fitness are gonna hear this part and just roll their eyes. I know. Here I am talking about scams and look at me. In my defense, okay, this is what I've been using. Bulk supplements, real simple. It's just genuinely Ajuga Turkist extract, otherwise known as turkesterone. But here's the thing. I had a friend who said, hey man, I actually started taking Turk, and I laughed and said, oh, the snake oil stuff. Cool. All right, great. And he said, would you like to try some? Of which I was like, okay, fine. You know what? Why not? He gave me some in a little capsule, and I tried it for about 4 days. And I genuinely felt as though when I was training, I was able to go just a tiny bit harder. It almost felt like I had a little more oomph in my lifts. I would not recommend you get it because, again, I only spent about $23. If you have $23 lying around and you're willing to try something that's probably just placebo, by all means, do it. If not, don't bother. I can tell you certifiably, creatine works. The nootropic works because it keeps you a little more locked in and wired. And a good protein powder. Real simple. Try to find something cheap. Milk whey isolate. You can get concentrate too if it's a little cheaper. If you wanna ball on a budget, add that to your coffee, add it to your cereal, just add it to some Greek yogurt. You can always go with the cheaper option. Try to save money during this process. I promise you, all of these people that are jacked are not rolling on massive amounts of dough and have the highest quality stuff. Actually, a lot of these people that are jacked probably aren't even natural. So that's another thing to factor in. Setting your expectations at a very fair, moderate level and not trying to go from one point to another within a span of a couple of months. Set realistic expectations. If your goal is to lose some weight, lose some weight. If your goal is to build some muscle, build muscle. You can do both if you do it properly. Think of it this way. You spent your entire life building the physique that you currently have, for better or worse. And yet you want the results of the process to be done by yesterday. This stuff takes time. It takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes effort. And ultimately, I think if you combine all three of those and you just apply yourself to your goal, you have every capability to do it. I really, really, really hope that at least one thing that I've said in this video is helpful and at the very least motivating, because I do know that I'm not a superhuman, much as I might look like it. Seriously though, I'm not a superhuman. I know that every single person that watches this is capable of greatness, and I don't know. Even if just giving a little bit of advice on counting calories is something that you can apply towards your goals, and it really does help you, that'd make me pretty happy to know. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you've had any experiences with weight loss, weight gain, things like that, and don't ego lift. Later, guys.